We're 2 weeks through the NFL season. There's been some surprises with teams that are 2-0 and some surprises with some teams that don't have a win yet. Tommy, out of the teams that are 2-0, we have the Eagles, Panthers, Cardinals, Broncos, Texans, Bengals, and Bills. Teams that are 0-2, we have the Jaguars, Colts, Raiders, Chiefs, Giants, Saints, and Bucks. What 2-0 team do you think is the worst, and what 0-2 team do you think is the best?
Well, I think that these answers are pretty obvious. I'll start with the worst, and this is going to be another shout out to a former USC alum and classmate of mine. Or actually, no, you know what? He was not a classmate of mine. He was a TA for me, but I'll count it. The worst 2-0 team is the Buffalo Bills, and they will lose this week to the Chargers at home. And the best 0-2 team, I think it's pretty obvious that it's the New Orleans Saints. So those are my two right away, and I'll let you name yours, and then I'll start to elaborate.
Okay, so for mine, I've got the Texans as the worst 0-2 team. I think that although Ryan Fitzpatrick has looked okay so far, I think as the season progresses, that is going to be something that holds them back, not having a solid quarterback. As far as my best 0-2 team goes, I can't agree with you on the Saints. I'm happy to elaborate after, but my team is the Colts. I think that the Broncos and Eagles are two of the toughest teams they're going to face this year. And Andrew Luck will get over the little hiccups he had at the end of the game last night, and I think they'll be fine. Especially Ahmad Bradshaw looked pretty legit last night, and I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, see, I'm going to say the Saints because they lost two games that they really shouldn't have lost. I mean, you lose them on field goals, it's tough. They could easily be 2-0 right now, and that's why I'll say that. I see where you're going with the Colts, but I mean, the Colts got beaten by the Broncos. I mean, that game was put in hand. So I see where you're going with the Colts. I still think that if the Colts and the Saints were to play each other, the Saints would have to be the favorite. So that's why I would have to go with New Orleans.
The problem I have with New Orleans is that their defense is terrible. And I don't know if you saw this, but pull up the Vine if you haven't seen this, Tommy, of Sean Payton screaming at Rob Ryan on the sidelines yesterday.
Awesome.
And I think that's going to be the downfall of the Saints this year is their defense. Their offense, you can always count on. Brandon Cooks looks really, really good as a rookie wide receiver. You can always count on Drew Brees, but I think the Saints are going to have major problems with their defense, and I think the NFC South is going to be tougher this year. I mean, the Falcons definitely look better. They didn't win this week, but they're still strong. You've got the Panthers, who, although they lost a lot of their wide receivers, their defense still looks really stout. You never know with the Bucs; they could get an upset in there once in a while. So, and it's the NFC where the Saints it's going to have tougher games than the Colts, the AFC. So that's why I think that the Saints are going to have some problems this year, despite the fact that their offense looks great. And Tommy, as far as your worst 2-0 team goes, I think the Bills are going to surprise some people. I mean, the Bears aren't terrible. They surprised the 49ers on Sunday night, and I don't think the Dolphins are bad either. And do I think the Bills are going to be great? No, but I don't think they're a bad team by any means.
I mean, I believe in the Texans. I mean, you look at what they did last year, that yes, they were terrible, but the year before that, they were not that bad. And it's pretty much the same guys, just with a different quarterback and a different coach. So I think that this is a team that can make the playoffs, in my opinion, with the Texans. You look at Buffalo, and yes, they're off to 2-0 start, and yes, they beat the Patriots, fine, but that's a division opponent. In division, you see a lot of those weird games like that. Or two division opponents, excuse me, because they beat the Dolphins as well. But I don't see it happening. I don't see this team breaking 8-8. I think they're a 7-win team. So, and I can see the Texans, maybe sneaking in 9 wins. So I don't think that Buffalo is even going to make the playoffs, let alone that they're not the worst 2-0 team. So I have to go with Buffalo for that reason. Houston, I think, maybe not. They're not going to shock the world. They put a beat down on the Raiders, but it's the Raiders, and the Raiders are looking like just a complete joke so far in the first 2 games. We've seen probably 2 of the worst plays that we'll see all year from the Raiders. We had Maurice Jones-Drew fumbling and then kicking it backwards into the hands of his quarterback, Carr. And then we also saw James Jones catch a ball, fumble it, pick up the fumble, run towards the end zone, then fumble it again. So we've already seen 2 very Raider-esque plays so far this season.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear who the worst 0-2 team is after this weekend.
We do not need to make that debate. That does not need to be a discussion piece. But I think that I think that the Texans at the end of the year will be a pretty formidable team. I believe in Ryan Fitzpatrick. I know you hate him, but I think that he's a decent quarterback. He's good enough.
I didn't say I hate him. I just think as the season progresses, you start to really see teams that separate themselves based on how good their quarterback is. And although Ryan Fitzpatrick has looked okay so far, he's been in the league for a while and has never proven himself. So I'm just saying that's something that worries me about the Texans. That's all I'm saying, especially in a division where you have the Colts, the Titans are up and coming. That's all I'm saying in regards to that.
All right. We shall see.